Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kingdom of Kodiak. I'm Kodiak. With me today is Grand Duke Sir Cal Thrax. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And without any hesitation, let's get to the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Still would like to know, how long have you been playing Amtgard?
5 years this upcoming April.
Okay, fantastic. And how long have you been aware of Amtgard?
Uh, 15 or 20, maybe a little bit less.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, okay.
in my previous life I ran airsoft fields, and one of the
Ah,
fields that I ran had a castle on it. And now I know this. The Kingdom West March had asked to do a camping event at that castle.
okay.
It fell through for whatever reason, but that's when I first heard about it.
All right. It's interesting how many times we've brought people on KOK and they've been like, "Yeah, I heard about it and I started playing," and you have like a 10-year gap of being aware of its existence and
Well,
participating.
I was doing other things, right? I was
Yeah,
running
yeah, yeah.
an airsoft field, and I have an airsoft team that's 12 years old now.
Oh,
So
cool.
maybe more than that. I don't know. It's old. So
Hey,
I was running airsoft events. I used to run yearly and quarterly, like huge 200 people events with sponsors and the whole deal.
oh, sweet. Awesome.
Yeah,
So there's a little bit of translation there to running events for AmpGuard as well. Like you have an idea of larger numbers, but we can get in that down the.
no worries.
Yeah, for sure. All right. It's still Het again. Tends to ask a lot of questions here.
Sure.
Where does your persona come from? And Sir Tristan specifically wants you to tell us your backstory.
You know, I went pretty simple with it. I like the Roman era, so I just decided to be a Roman, and there weren't very many of them. I don't think there were any in our kingdom at the time. I've met few throughout Amtgard now, but when I
Hmm.
started, I don't know if there were any or if there were just a couple. So I
Okay.
said, all right, I'm going to be Roman, and it's actually really hard because the garb and stuff is not very easy to fight in. I mean, run around in a toga,
Hmm.
uh, But so I went general route instead of senatorial route. So I was a combatant and I wore armor. And when I became the park monarch, I became a praetor. And yeah, so I just went with that, and I just went in as a silly normal human,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I didn't really come up with a story. I just
Okay.
was a normal human soldier working my way up.
But that's you can't argue with it. It's a great start to any story. Just I'm a regular
Yeah.
person. Uh, what would you say is the achievement or award that you're most proud of receiving? And then again, another caveat to a question uh, that you didn't receive.
So
Like,
what
is there an
my
award
favorite
out?
one that I haven't earned?
Yeah, maybe you saw someone else receive this award. Maybe it was a new title or a higher level award that you were like, man, that's a goal of mine still.
Honestly, I think in our kingdom we have an award called the Dreamkeeper. It was like a lifetime achievement award, and I've
Hmm.
seen a few of those given out, and I think that's pretty cool. I mean, for one that I haven't earned,
Hmm.
I really kind of like that one.
Okay. And then what about one that you yourself have received?
My all-time favorite is gonna have to be my Duke, and the reason for that is because I got it late, and I got it the next reign.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so it was. I think it was 3 months late, 6 months late. I'm not sure the time frame. I think it happened at the coronation changeover between the monarchs.
Mm.
And the monarch at the time was Sarah Lewis, and she brought myself and my knight Dusty up and gave us both our dukes at the same time.
Oh, cool.
And that was just like the most amazing thing ever. So that's definitely my favorite by far.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah,
Smiley's a fan of KOK, so any
yeah.
shout out we can get is a big time. Okay. Cal, what would you say is your favorite battle game?
Like style or
It always comes up for every time we've asked this question so far.
okay.
It could be a specific time that you played a game that was super good, or maybe there's just one style of game that you're like, that is by far my favorite to play.
Anything with like objective basing, I guess. I don't like just murder the other team.
Okay. All
To
right.
me, it's kind of boring and pointless.
Okay. So when we're doing this objective based battle game, what
Hmm.
class are we playing?
I'm almost 99% of the time assassin. I've played lots of other classes. I started off as barbarian. I think I played that 2 levels and I didn't like it, so I went
Mhm.
to warrior. Really liked that one, but I blew out my arm. Um, so I went to healer, played healer, can't do the heal spell, never could do the heal spell. I had it written down on a card, and I swifted it. And if you need a real healing, I must have really liked you because I had to pull out this card and read it very slowly.
Right.
But yeah, assassin. I'm almost always playing assassin.
Okay, so that answers Darius' question, I think. But assassins,
Uh,
friends or not
I, I
friends?
I like them when they're working with me. When they're on the other team, I don't like them at all.
Oh, okay. All right. So there are some boundaries and some lines. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
All right. And then Sir Smiley, you may know him. Wanted
A
to
little bit.
know
I met him
what's
once.
what's your favorite weapon combination?
Well, I like the bow, but when I'm rolling a line, I use a short and a long.
Okay. All right. Well, those are the bare necessities. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sin. And we're going to get to the three questions the KOK viewers have been asking since episode one.
All
One
right.
year ago today,
That's
this
perfect.
question was asked. Sir Glenolf is due a toaster and a soda maker. What are your thoughts on this?
That I guess why is he do them?
Well, before my time, apparently there was a promise of a toaster, and then since then, during the KOK time frame, people have suggested that a soda maker should be added to this give.
I mean, sure, why not? But I don't know. We're here a year now, and you've asked this question 52 times, and no one's bought him a toaster.
I,
You
if
know what?
anyone,
PM me. I'll Amazon you a toaster.
if anyone has, no one has told me. Which,
Cool.
yeah, here
Send
we
me his
are.
address. I'll send him a toaster. They're like
Uh,
$6.
Fantastic. Okay, all right. Still, I would like to know what are your thoughts on bears?
Like what kind of bears?
What, imaginary,
Like like
real,
like if I'm being chased in the
persona.
woods by a bear, I'm not very friendly towards them. But
Okay.
I mean, in general, I like all kinds of bears.
All right. Okay. Well, that's typically the answer we've been getting. People aren't willing to just step on the grenade and be like, "Yeah, no, bears are awesome."
Bears
Uh,
are awesome till they're trying to eat you, and
well,
then I hope I can outrun whoever's with me.
that you just have to be the second fast or second
Right.
slowest. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Uh, who or what would you say is your favorite bear?
I only know one personally, and that's you. So I'm gonna go with you.
Hey, you know what? Because he pointed me out originally, I'm going to say 5 points for Kodiak today. So great job, Kodiak. You're doing awesome. Uh, are there bears on the moon?
Um, actually, I think there are those what are they called, water bears or whatever. I think they exist up there.
Yeah, they very well could be. Stillhat is going to try to push here for you to
Mm-hmm.
make her the best bear. And she's going to say, she's a former belt cousin of yours. Uh, does she get your vote for best bear because of that?
Because of that and that in and of itself, I'll give it a really close second. But I don't know the person, so
Okay. So, Stillhat, because you've only gotten a second place, we're going to go ahead and give Kodiak one more point today. That'll be 6 for Kodiak. Uh, Kodiak, you're doing a great job.
good job.
Uh, last general question: what are your thoughts on Dragonspine getting a mobile pool and/or jacuzzi?
I'm all for that type of thing. I just I will not be the one using it because
Okay,
that's a lot of people in a very small liquid container.
it's true. Do you have a problem with any of the bears being in there?
No. Nope.
Okay. Pardon me 1 second.
Sure.
Phone was blowing up. Anyways, how do you think the Dragonspine can afford to pay for this mobile pool and/or jacuzzi?
Donations and fundraisers. They're
Any
only
specific?
I think the Coleman right now is like $450, and it's a 6-person mobile.
Okay.
I'm sure between all of you guys, you can come up with that much.
I'm pretty sure we could too. I guess we typically ask this question to see if anyone wants a AmpGuard calendar or wants to see a bunch of the Dragonspine people do car wash or something like that.
I would totally buy a calendar.
Okay, fantastic. We'll have to look into that. Well, those are the three questions that have been asked by uh, the KOK viewers. Man, I'm distracted right now.
No worries.
KOK viewers every week since week one. Again, it's been a year. Let's get into your questions.
All
So,
right.
first, starting off, Nikolai wants to ask the question for the day.
Uh-huh.
What are you drinking?
Like right this second or in general?
Yeah, like right this second.
Unsweet tea.
Unsweet tea. water myself, but
Yeah,
you know,
I drink a lot of water, a lot of unsweet tea.
yeah, there we go. There we go. Apparently, it's St. Patrick's Day, so
Yeah, my alcohol of choice is Jack Daniels and Dr Pepper.
okay. All right. Well, still would like to know, and this typically would be the funny questions, but because it's St. Patrick's Day and because it's episode 52, how Irish are you today?
14.8%,
14.8%. There we go. All right.
according to the stuff I was looking at today, which was completely unrelated to that. Somebody had showed me a DNA site to upload to, and it breaks it down by regions and all that weird stuff.
Okay.
So I was
All right.
looking at that.
Uh, the Thank you. Awesome. I was trying to break down my own and 23andMe, and I'm like,
Oh yeah. So what you do is you download that and you send it to this other website, and it
yeah.
actually it'll break it down to like I'll send you the link, but
Okay.
someone sent it to me and it breaks it down like way more,
Okay.
like
All right.
like way more.
Way more. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's
Um,
insane.
Sir Smiley, we'd like to know, and if you could pertain this to Amcard, that'd be great. If not,
Uh huh.
whatever. What is the most heartwarming thing you've ever seen?
Uh, man, I don't know. I don't know. I have a real answer for that. I mean, I see lots of things. I don't know if what I would call one more than the other.
Okay.
Um, I don't know honestly what the most would
Oh,
be. I've had a very well lived life, so.
do you just want to give us one awesome thing that's happened to you? Heartwarming?
To me, that's
Yeah.
heartwarming.
Yeah.
Well, I did a talk show on Monday that helped me deal with a lot of personal issues, and
Hmm.
everyone was
Hmm.
very receptive, and
Hmm.
it was a good growing experience for me, and I felt that was very heartwarming. I grew as a person and individual. So,
So that was Royce's
yep,
show, correct?
yeah,
Sir Baihu, for anyone who's paying attention, Amp wide, also does a show in his mundane life, and Thrax was on that.
yep.
So that's fantastic, and you should go check that out. Absolutely. Um, all right. Uh, what would you have done differently in your AmpGuard career if you had the knowledge you had right now?
I think my first reign as Monarch, I would have not worried so much about stepping on toes.
Okay. Yeah. It's rough. Because sometimes you have to. So
Right,
yeah.
and I I think I was at just a little over a year
Hmm.
when I ran the first time, and I think I came on at a year and a half. So I'd only been playing the game a very short time when I became Kingdom Monarchs the first time. So I wasn't sure of my place yet, and I'd pretty much only stayed in my park until that
I
time.
get it.
So no worries. So yeah, so I wasn't sure. I knew it was a Monarch, but I wasn't sure exactly what that meant or what power I had or what steps I should take. So, I mean, I didn't let anybody walk all over me, but there were some instances where I felt I should have stepped up a little bit more.
Okay. Uh, Excuse me
Yep,
one
do what you got
second.
to do. I think this happened to Dusty too. Didn't he like just take off in the middle of the interview? And Dusty had to sit here and talk about I think he talked about when he was shaving, right? He was like trying to get money from everybody. I'd like money, but I'd donate it to somebody else.
It
Hi.
would it would be 1 year when my son decides that this is the time he needs to talk during. Oh, good stuff.
It's all right. I was just discussing how I think Smiley had some quiet time, so he turned that into his St. Jude's thing. So I said that people are more than welcome to give me money, and I will also donate it to a cause.
That's fair. We could start up St. Jude's too, I'm sure.
I don't really have a whole lot to shave off, and last time I shaved off, my wife said she would murder me and then divorce me. So
Wow, in that order?
yeah,
Oh, dang. Oh.
yeah, right.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Why don't we try to get back on track here then?
All right.
All right. Ragnarok would like to know, what advice would you give a new player?
Most advice I give new players is just try to find yourself and find what you like about the game
Hmm.
and enjoy the game first. I mean, there's a lot of people who jump right in and like day one they want to run the park. And great, if you have the skills and capable of doing that, awesome. I wish I had had more fun in the beginning, because now I have less fun.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, it's
but I'm
yeah.
working on getting back to the fun. So once we reopen, I'm gonna start traveling more. So
Yeah, come to Dragon Spine.
that's one of the goals. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what have you been doing during the pandemic to keep your skills honed?
Nothing at all.
Nothing. Yeah.
No, I bought a really cool 4 foot, like, it's a punching bag.
Hmm.
It's on a stand and it has a flexible head. I bought that and I was going to use it and start shooting my bow, but then it got cold, and so I said, nah, I'll just wait. But now the weather's starting to turn better. I'll actually start doing it. But
Yeah.
other than that, I haven't done anything.
Okay. It
I
happens.
keep, I keep talking about doing it, but
No.
then
No.
yeah,
I had just bought weights this week, and
yeah.
then I pinched a nerve in my back.
Oh
So
no, that's like the
yeah,
worst thing to pinch.
it's no, of all the things to pinch, nerves are
Yeah.
the worst. Yeah.
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 Ow.
That's why I'm using a walking cane. It's,
Oh, very nice.
super classy. All right.
Hey, if it
Damon,
works.
technically, I mean, I moved rooms, so
There you go.
yeah. Damon, I believe would like to know, what households or companies do you belong to?
I belong to the Iron Star, um, fighting company, and
Hmm.
I guess technically I'm in Noble something, I forget off the top of my head, but Noble Legacy. We kind of started it, talked about it, and it just kind of fell a wayside. I mean, there was a lot of excitement about it, but I had said from day one that I do not have the capacity to lead it, and we didn't really have anybody step up to lead it. So
Mm.
it
Mm.
eventually just kind of died. And I mean, the thought is still there, and I like it. But the only fighting company I've ever belonged to is Iron Star Adventuring Company, and
Okay.
right now I'm the High Captain.
What? So, can you tell us a little bit about the fighting company itself? Like, do you have a strong leadership structure, or is there just one person and then everyone else is kind of equal?
Um, so all the Iron Stars, the full stars, they all have an equal vote. I'm the High Captain, so I'm in charge of the whole group, and then each kingdom has a captain, and then there's an individual park leader, if necessary. And we started off, like, I think there were 8 of us originally in our park, and then we grew. I think the most we had was like 14, and then a lot of those people retired, did other stuff, and we dropped down. I think we were at 3 at one point in time, and then we just blew up, and now we're in 5 kingdoms. I think we're at 30 people.
Mm, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for it.
Cool. So Randall is in the chat asking about how to deal with garb in Roman garb specifically when it's being co-opted by hate groups.
A lot of that's really hard, and especially with national hate groups, there's only so much an individual in an organization like this can do,
Hmm.
and um, that's why I personally try to stay away from specific ego motifs that kind of match those symbols, or certain things. I think that we should fight for our history and we should keep it. I especially agree with the people who do that with the Nordic traditions and Nordic symbols and
Hmm.
history. Because if you let it get to a point, you can't get it back, and then you lose, especially for a lot of the Norse people who that's a religion piece for them.
Hmm.
If they don't fight for it, they're going to not be able to have that anymore. On the Roman level, it's a dead society that's gone. I think we should still fight for our history and retake a lot of our stuff, but I'm not going to die in a hill about a bird, because more people than less people think it's racist. I'm just going to change the style of bird and enjoy my day and educate as I go along.
Right.
Um, I mean, I think it's terrible, but that's 90% of racists do is what they do, and especially hate groups. They take a symbol that's well known and they try to take it over so it becomes associated with them. So when you Google that image, they come up, and that they recruit that way, because a lot of their recruitment pages don't look bad. They look like, oh, look, this is a happy fun group. Let's go hang
Right.
out, and that's where it leads.
Well, it's a good thought process on it, where the Norse religions and stuff are still being practiced, and
Right.
we should try to fight for that. Versus the Roman, where we should be educating people about what is the correct procedures. But given that there's, like you said, a dead culture, standing for it, you like
Yeah, I know.
edit and move on.
Right. And I mean, I get it. Trust me, I don't want the Roman culture to go away, and I want people to, have the good stuff and everything. But and I think we should defend it. And I think the people that need to be defending, for the most part, are well renowned, and the people involved, at college professors, talking heads,
Mhm.
History Channel. They need to keep spending that education. And I'll talk to anybody about as much as I know and try to educate it. But I'm not going to go to a rally screaming about uh a Roman eagle from 4,000 years ago. But I will totally do that for a Nordic priest trying to save his culture.
Right. That makes sense. And thank you for doing that, because
Sure.
I mean it's a big struggle. It's
Yeah, it's an
almost
absolute
daily,
struggle.
especially in Amp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not especially in Amp, but in Amp we're seeing it almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem somewhere, and
Right.
stances like that to be like, no, this is still a tradition that exists. It needs to be preserved. We have to find a way to fight for it.
Right.
Awesome. Smiley wants to ask a little bit of a goofy question. Um, if you could choose three amp garters to take with you on a desert island, who would you take to start a new amp world with?
Wow. Um, what kind of island exactly? Is it like one I'm ever gonna get off?
Well, it says deserted. Um, let's do this. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
that in 20 years, there's a chance you could come off of it, and Amp will be only what you've discerned it to be while you've been on the island.
Cool. The non-specifically, I would take 3 people from Ramcard I don't like, so they would be removed from the game for the next 20 years.
Way to take that burden upon yourself. That's
Yeah, 3 people, the 3 most toxic individuals that I can find in the game, I would take them with me, so they would be removed from the game.
okay. That was not the answer I was expecting, but we can roll with that. Um, and that actually will end the first section of our categories again, because
Cool.
you're in the nightly chat part of this. There's three
Cool.
for you,
Oh
but
wow. Okay.
so that one was a little bit more about your personal preferences and how you've enjoyed things, and now we're going to talk about AmpGuard wide specific things.
Okay.
So Genocide had this question. I really like it, so I'm going to keep it on my list. What's your favorite kingdom in Amtgard?
Um, so this is where I get to say that I'm not well traveled.
Okay.
Um, I have only been to 4 now.
Mhm.
Um, and most of those just in the last recent times. I went to Spring War. I went to GOTC. Um, I technically went to a Banner War. I don't know where that was held though. I think it might have been the wetlands. It was actually held in the wetlands. I think it was the last one that was held outside the H.
Mhm.
The professor ran that one. Um, but the only one I really got to enjoy was Spring War. The
Mhm.
Banner Wars was good, but it was mostly just specific types of fighting. I couldn't, it was contest after
Right.
contest, so it wasn't like a normal event. And then the Gathering, I was working. I was Monarch, so Spring War was the first IK event that I really got to do whatever I wanted.
Okay.
So, and that's why I want to start traveling. I want to go visit the other kingdoms, see the other events. So EH is my favorite because it's the only one I know.
Okay. Fantastic. So Jubei had this question, and I liked it, so I kept it.
Okay.
What do you like most about your kingdom, and what is your plans to improve your park?
Well, right now my park is pretty much dead, so we're gonna try to rebuild it. I mean, that's the first step, and
Yeah.
then so far about the kingdom, I mean, for the most part, um, almost everybody I've ran into has been a good person or a fun person or just had a good time. I've been pretty welcome for the most part as a new player, and then eventually as leadership and whatever role I took on. Um, I haven't had a lot of that experience with other kingdoms, but my internet experience with a lot of kingdoms has been really bad with specific players. But I don't hold that against the kingdom. So
Okay. Well, that's unfortunate as well, but
I know.
hopefully this time we can resolve some of that and before we come back. You said you've been playing for 5 years, so
Yeah.
you're relatively new to the game,
Yep.
but what's your best Amp story that you can tell us?
The best. I mean, there's a lot. I'll just go with a recent one. We were at Spring War, and I was playing assassin. I was on the same side as most of the JC, and it started off with me and Tice were shooting bows, and there were just too many people on the field. It was getting annoying, so I took off the bow and I just started running behind the line. And I can't remember. It was one of the JC. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I was constantly running down the line, just tapping people, and then I'd vanish and run off and keep doing that. And then he starts yelling at me. He's like, "Cal, stop that! You keep killing the guy before Tice can shoot him." And I was all like, "Sorry." And then I kept accidentally doing, like, I'd stab a guy and then he'd put his hand up and then the arrow would hit him half a second later. And it was just hilarious because Sir Ice was getting annoyed at me, and not really, but he's like, "Damn it, Cal." And it was just a good time.
That's a good story. That's good.
Yeah.
We like to hear that.
And then real quick though, I want to do a shout out to I can't remember her Limbo. Um, Specifically, it's a negative shout out because she decided to get people to start going to me to get autographs, and so one day she's going to pay. So I just want her to know that I remember, and that she's going to pay.
Okay. So no autographs when you see Cal Thrax. Is that the
No, no, no. I'll do them if people want them. It's weird, and I'll do them. But she
okay?
was like getting people to come over to me and like hype manning me. She
Okay.
she was doing it for the laughs, and she's going to pay. So
Limbo, you're on notice. Watch
that's right.
yourself. Okay.
Exactly.
Um, okay. So tournament question here: if someone wins a four and under tournament, do you think that they deserve a fifth?
I guess that would depend. I mean, if there are three people there, no. But if they fight 20 and they pull it out, yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, anything under six is they should be getting them for doing all the stuff. That's your practice round. That's your amateur league. That's where you earn that stuff. And then once you hit six, you're moving up in the bigger leagues and you're trying to do more.
Yeah. That seems fair. We're excited because we want to try to do some of that bracketed system with the levels of the Order of the Warrior pertain to on top of also
Right.
introducing the non-women, um, non-women and non-men. That's why it was confusing. Non-men
Yeah, I
and
was wondering
women's
where you were
tournament. I was
going.
like, what?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So interesting. Still has a question here. And I don't know how long this will take. This could go.
Okay.
Uh, Given the chance, would you change the Knight of the Sword to not bottleneck so much compared to other paths?
Um, I get the argument with all that, and I see all that. I think I mean, yeah, it should be a little bit easier to get, but I don't know how.
Mhm.
One of the things I see is that there aren't a lot of warlords being active to give the competition necessary, and I know our kingdom isn't the only one that suffers that. I think we only have one active right now, um, and I think that's a good part of it. You have these people stepping up and they keep winning tournaments, but people are saying, "Oh, well, they haven't fought any warlords, but we don't no warlords are showing up." And then it gets to the point too where people get mad. "Oh, well, yeah, you fought that warlord, but this guy's better than that guy, so you need to beat him too." And that guy isn't even in our kingdom. And I'm like, it's it's based upon your kingdom skill level. So if you're the best in your kingdom and you're beating everybody in that kingdom, then the skill level is equal to where you're at.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter if Burning Lands can defeat the guy from Northreach or vice versa. It's based on your kingdom, and that's been the argument I've always had. I mean,
It's
it's
interesting.
sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's interesting that we would denote that it is kingdom based, but then an inter-kingdom event like a GOTC or Spring Wars, where we have all those kingdoms
Hmm.
together, and then it becomes, well, who's the best of the best?
Right, and that's where warlords should show off, and people who want to be warlords. I mean, just because you don't win that tournament doesn't mean in your kingdom you're not a warlord, right? I mean, it's
Hmm.
warlords aren't the best in the game; they're the best in your kingdom. That's why the kingdom gives the award, right? So if I
Yeah.
go beat all the warlords in CK, what does that matter? I mean, it's great and it should count towards tournament wins or whatever, depending on how it is. But I'm not there to impress the CK. I'm there to impress the kingdom I'm in, because
Right.
they're the one who's going to award it to me.
Right. Makes sense. I don't disagree. Um, if you could change one rule in Amtgard right now, what would it be, and why?
The COC, because it's written completely poorly.
Okay. And what are we? What is the issue that you're seeing?
There's not enough protection for the people who have to use it. It's not descriptive enough. There's too many cases of people using it inappropriately, using the wrong way, using it for personal. There's no checks and balances. I mean, we currently don't even have a policy in place to define harassment. Very few kingdoms have an actual definition of what that constitutes. So it's up to wherever the governing body is. And even though we can get that, that statement and eventually get it, it's still going to be up to that body. But to have a better system in place, I mean, our COC is basically, I mean, in the rule book, it's like a quarter of a page.
Hmm.
When's the last time you went to a business and had to sign an employee handbook and it was 60, 200 pages,
Right.
and half of that is sexual harassment training? So
Yeah.
I think we need a complete rewrite of that.
Okay. That makes sense. Kind of tying into it, Cleo's question, and you and I have talked about this off camera, just to make sure that we were
Yeah.
okay with it. When someone brings a complaint up, what do you look for to determine if it's trolling, spiteful, motivated for revenge, etc.? And what obvious things and what less apparent subtleties and nuance do you look to determine that?
So this one actually comes up more often than not, and there's a lot going on there, and there's a very distinction between an actual threat, a veiled threat, implications of threats, and hyperbole, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure we've all been on a field and heard someone say, "Oh, I'm going to kill that guy," right?
Hmm.
Or um, I want to punch that guy in the face. I mean, we've all heard that. Does anybody reasonable think that that person is going to go up and start punching people? No.
Right. Right.
And it's the same online. The difference is there's a lot of double standards based upon not liking somebody, right?
Hmm.
So if I say, hey Kodiak, you said something about, I don't know, something about somebody, and I just really want to punch you in the face. Um, that's not a legit threat, right? I mean, there's
Right.
no reasonable person is going to say, "Oh shit, Cal's pissed off. He's going to drive all the way up there and he's going to punch you in the face."
Hmm.
But if I say, you know, if I go to a park, or if I say, "Hey, I'm going to find out what park you go to, and then I'm going to follow you home, and I'm going to shoot you," that's something that I would take. Or even, "Hey, I'm going to find out where you live, and we're going to talk."
Yeah.
That's a threat,
Yeah.
right? But saying, and it's the same thing. I mean, how many times have you seen somebody on a park field throw their hands up, right?
Yeah.
But back when I was a teenager, you threw your hands up, you threw down, right?
Hmm.
I mean, that meant we're fighting. We're going to do it now. But now it's just it's just people saying, "Hey, I'm pissed off. That's annoying. Come at me, bro." Right? I mean, that's a
Right.
big phrase everyone uses nowadays.
Hmm.
And I don't think those are actual threats. But when it comes down to like a dividing line, I I look at the character of the person and how I see them and how they interact with the people that they associate with, not with the people who don't like them.
Right.
And for me, it doesn't matter what fighting company they're in, what belt line they're in. I hold them to the same standard. And if I reasonably, if I feel that if any reasonable person does not feel that that is a genuine threat, right? Like I said, you piss me off so bad, I'm going to punch you in the face. That's not a reasonable threat. That's someone venting. Should it be said? No. I
No.
mean,
Right.
it gets, we're supposed to be adult, but everybody has that moment of weakness, especially when you're talking to people who you think you're friends, right?
Hmm.
And we vent and we cuss and we make statements that we don't mean. And people need to realize that there is a dividing line between an actual threat and blowing off steam and hyperbole and just posturing, right?
Hmm.
Amguard is really big on posturing. If we started holding people accountable to basic posturing, especially on the battlefield, like somebody getting shot and pissed off their men, oh, I'm going to kill that guy, and we start banning those people, we're not going to have a game.
Right.
Everybody has a moment where they do that. That doesn't mean that that person is literally going to go kill that guy. And I
Hmm.
think that's where we lose a lot of that connection when you have two groups of people that don't like each other. They defend their bros doing that, but they attack and condemn everybody else,
Hmm.
even though it's literally the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, we could work on making sure that we're saying less questionable terms when something like that comes up, but we don't, to inherently just be like, oh, that's a bannable offense. He said, yeah, it's
Right,
gray area, and again, it kind of ties into our COC. If it's vague,
right,
then we have to interpret it, and now you're putting interpretation on, and one person could see it as one thing, another person could see it as another, and at the
right.
end of it, we get hurt feelings. So,
Yeah, and I'm totally, and I'm not everybody, and I'm not going to hold other officers to my standards. I mean, I will talk to them about it if I have an issue. I've never had a problem reaching out to people, and when I generally try to talk to people. Like if somebody says something and somebody says, hey, I take offense to that, I try to reach out and tell them, hey, you should probably not say that anymore.
right.
You know?
Okay, well, let's put a little positive spin on here a little bit. That's pretty deep for a KOK episode, especially a KOK episode.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
No, that the questions were asked.
Hmm.
Ragnarok would like to know, what did you learn when you were a squire?
Um, Patience.
Okay.
Um, so Dusty, as a lot of people know, is religious, and he's a minister and a pastor, and he's very patient, and he lets me vent without
Hmm.
judging. And then at the end of it, he'll be like, "Okay, you're stupid. Move on." And I'll be like, "Okay, I know that, but." And so it was nice to be able to talk to him as a person, as a knight, and um, sometimes as a pastor. I mean, I'm not religious, but and he's never held that against me, which is amazing. Um, and um, you know, I just he has helped me overcome a lot of very Amcard specific issues and real life issues, and yeah, I mean, basically, I'm just gonna keep repeating myself, but that's basically it.
That's fine. Hey, giving Smiley a shout out and giving him positive praise is never going to be a bad thing on KOK. Uh,
Yeah.
we we're for it. Um, Stillhet would like to know. We mentioned Stillhet before, being in
Mhm.
your belt line but not winning Best Bear because of it. Um, who is your favorite belt brother under Sir Smiley?
See, these questions coming from that group, and especially Smiley, he doesn't answer those questions,
Uh
right?
huh. Uh huh.
So I don't have a favorite. I mean, I know some more than others, and because of that, I can say I associate more. I mean, um, Mort is like I talk to him almost constantly,
Mhm.
so I'm going to be closer with him than other ones, right?
Mhm.
But the ones that I have met and I know are all amazing, and I like them all.
Okay.
Um, and I wouldn't put one above another. I mean,
Mm.
I think
That's
they're all
unfortunate.
equally awesome. So
That's unfortunate because your knight is asking in the very next question to rank them in a top 10 format.
cool. So number one is all the ones who are active, and number two are all the ones who are not active.
That's that. Look at you. See, big brain energy.
Yeah.
Getting there and being like, no, I'm gonna skirt the system is what we're gonna do.
And 3 through 10 are all the man at arms and yellow belts who will eventually be there.
All right. And then the last question in that section of questions,
Hmm.
who is number one Squire?
Me.
Why not, right?
I mean, yeah.
All right. Still would like to know, how would you advise someone who is looking for a belt family?
So that one for me is kind of rough because I talked to several people when I was new, and I ended up with Dusty. And honestly, I didn't know where that was going to take me. I knew who Dusty was, and
Hmm.
funny story is, he tried to kill me when we first met, and we were playing jugging, and he had a giant murder pole, and he swings it full force, double hand, and yeah, he tried to murder me and the rest of my team, who were all Iron Stars, and like he nailed Keelio right in the throat. I think he hit Duff in the nose, and yeah, he's full murder chop.
Okay.
So that was me meeting him, and it was hilarious, and we talked about it, and he actually called me a cheater at one point, and yeah, he was hitting me so hard in the foot that my foot was sliding, and he was like, "I'm hitting you and you're moving," and I'm like, "Dude, you're literally making my foot slide across the ground." And the Reeve was standing right there. He's all, "Yeah, Dusty, you're Smiley, you're literally pushing his foot a foot every time you whack him." And so he's all, "Oh, all right." So then he just started doing overhead chops where I had to put my shield up, and he literally dropped me to the ground.
Jeez.
So it was actually a lot of fun. We had a great time, and yeah, so I ended up with Dusty, and so I tell people to um, just talk to people, have conversations.
Hmm.
Don't necessarily just take a belt because someone offers it to you. Um, talk to people for a while, find out what direction they're going to go, and more importantly, find out how they help their other people.
Hmm.
There's a lot of knights who hold people to standards that they wouldn't hold themselves to, and or even standards that don't exist. You'll have like a crown knight who has a squire who's working on a flame belt and is like almost a master or whatever, and they're asking for their advice on what they need to do and whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, well, you need to run for office." Well, why? I'm trying to do this. Well,
Right.
that's I in order to get the reputation for doing this, you have to do this and you have to do that, and then or they'll be like, "Oh, well, you need to go drive 4,000 miles and go crack this event because it's the largest one in the world," and I don't think that's necessarily right or my favorite of all time. Well, I did it this way, so you need to do it exactly this way.
Right.
I hate that. That's literally the worst phrase that you can give as advice to someone trying to earn a belt.
Okay. All right. But communication is a big deal. Go
Yeah,
out and talk to
communication.
people. Sure.
Talk to people. Don't take the first one that's offered to you unless you already know the situation. You spent time with that person. Um, I didn't, and I'm glad for it.
Yeah. I mean, my advice would be don't take any of them. But
Well, I mean, I've had a really good experience with mine, but that's not necessarily the norm in some cases, right?
yeah. No,
So,
it's a lot of fun to have that be like the thing, but it's not about me. Still, I said it. There you go. And it's about you. So let's move on. Um, Ragnarok would like to know: did your time in leadership change your perception on Amp for the better or worse, or did it not change at all?
honestly, it's not a better or worse situation. I just see that it needs a lot of help, and
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to better my environment, my park, my kingdom, and now I'm on the AI BOD. Um, I just think every kingdom and every officer, every volunteer needs help because most volunteers don't get treated very well at all, and it's a shame really, and we lose a lot of volunteers after one time in service because of that.
Right.
And I think we've lost a lot of amazing people that could have been something big if they had the right encouragement to get past it and keep going.
Right.
Um, so I don't have a good and a bad. I just think we need to work on keep going forward.
Okay. All right. In your opinion, what distinguished your reign as excellent to be lifted to the Knight of the Crown?
I don't know if necessarily anything was excellent or how people define that. I've talked to a lot of people and they define it differently. My last reign was hard.
Hmm.
I'm not counting this reign. I didn't get voted in position. I had to take over because our monarch left and I was regent. Um, and I didn't earn any awards for this. It's all based off my last reign, which was last um, December. I left and we came into 2020. So 99, no, 2019, not 99.
2019. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say it's. Whew.
So it ended in
Okay.
December of 2019, and it was really rough because I had banned, I want to say like 30 people. I think it was a large number, and during that time period, I was doing a post-apocalyptic reign that turned into a Mad Max reign, and it turned in this huge war between myself and the Hidden Blade, and it got to like, I want to say it was like 14 kingdoms were getting involved. So it was this huge RP thing. So while all this stuff was going on, I was dealing with all this stuff. This RP was just huge, and everyone was involving in that. So even though we were doing all these investigations and banning all these people and all this stuff was going on, the populace was all like, "Cool, but this stuff's fun. Let's just keep doing the fun stuff." And I
Right.
was like, "Cool." So I think if you want to call the excellence is having that dividing line where people were more caring about the theme of the reign and what was going on and having a good time than worrying about all the negativity that developed during that reign.
Right.
I'm proud of that accomplishment. We kept that strong. We had a giant parade. We had people from all over multiple kingdoms come and get dressed up and do this parade. We got a video of it, and it was amazing. Everyone was talking about the parade for months and the rain for months, and I had war boys and they were all dressed up like from the movie, and they're out there doing stuff. And I had this, I still have it. I had this big like rack with skulls on it that had all their
Hmm.
faces spray painted, and it was a good time, and that was really engaging. And then we got the war going with the Hidden Blade, and even at Gathering the Clans, the Hidden Blade showed up, and we did a bunch of stuff there, and kingdoms were getting involved, and kingdoms were supporting them, kingdoms were supporting me. They were doing their own Hidden Blade role play with their members, and the community was coming together, and it blew up into something really big. And I still talk to, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. The leader of that and who put it together, and we had a really rough start because apparently I RP too hard. Um, so, but we worked past it and we moved on and we made everything better because of it. We had this great role play that everyone got involved in. I mean, you still see it on the pages. People still talk about it. And yeah, like I want to say like 14, maybe more, maybe 12. I don't remember. There was a lot of kingdoms who got involved, and like that's what I'm proud of, and that's what I think excellence in my last reign was that RP moment and the community coming together. All the rest of it didn't matter.
That sounds wonderful. That's
Yeah, it was a good
yeah.
time.
There can be a lot of drama going on, but to keep the populace happy, I mean that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And so that leads us to the last question of this
All
section.
right.
Stillhat apparently wants to know, how would you rate Kodiak on leadership?
Uh, Everything I've seen from you has been amazing, man. I mean, you
Mm,
were one of the most dedicated people. I mean, you've done the show every week for literally a year, right?
hmm.
I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head who has done that much on that consistent of a basis. Lots of people are doing things, and everything I've seen from Facebook and everything, I think you're pretty good, and I can't wait to see what more you do.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Stillhat. There, whatever. Another point
Yeah,
for Kodiak for
there you
being
go.
awesome.
There you
Yes.
go.
7 on the night. I'm doing great. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about your knighthood overall.
Okay.
And we have to start at the beginning of it, of course.
Uh
Uh,
huh.
Stillhat would like to know, how did the pandemic affect your knighting?
So I got voted in for my knighting like right before it hit. Uh, like we were supposed to I think it got voted in, and then we were talking about doing it at the June, maybe it was June. I don't remember exactly when the vote happened, but it happened I think right like 2 weeks before the pandemic. And so we had discussed doing it I think at the June event, and then the pandemic all came down. So then we just started trying to figure out, and at the time we thought, okay, maybe the pandemic won't be that big of a deal. We'll write it out. And so
Mhm.
that's what we did for a long time. And we were going to do it at another time and then another time. And then finally we just pulled the trigger, did it. and we did it on some property I have nearby, and it June 2020. So, and then yeah, I don't know the stuff, but somebody else does. But then we we did, I had some local people and a couple nights come down, and we did this quick small outdoor ceremony, and I had this little like barn thing and put some fire pits in there that actually turned out to be a really cool effect, and we hung some stuff up, decorations, and Smiley drove all the way from New Mexico. I don't know, I think he lives in New Mexico. He lives far. That's all I know.
Yeah.
He lives very far, and he drove and he stayed, and we did it, and we masked up and we sanitized and we just did it, and it actually turned out really amazing, and I was very thankful for everything that happened and how it happened.
Yeah. Well, from what I know of you in my research, it's well deserved.
Thank
So
you.
it's
Thank you.
fantastic that it happened. I know that it's been a question in my year as Monarch of like, well, there's some nightings we could be doing. Yeah, but we didn't get the people that said yes, I would like to be knighted virtually,
Right.
or felt comfortable being in a group of people. So,
Right.
it's fantastic that it can still be done and be done effectively. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we took a lot of precautions. I had hand sanitizer at the front of everything. I had these sanitizing wipes. We all wore masks. Um, Dusty was the only one with his mask off for a limited time, and that was it. And then we said, okay, goodbye, no hugs as much as possible. I got some hugs anyways,
Hmm.
but then I took off that clothing, immediately sanitized, and went about my
Right.
day.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were all in masks, so
That's awesome. That's great.
yeah.
Um, Ragnarok would like to know, what advice would you give someone who wants to be a knight?
So I kind of get a lot of flack for this, but I'm a type of guy that if you want to be a knight, do it, go for it, make it a goal.
Hmm.
Uh, but I feel that it should be for the right reasons. I don't think it should be for box tops. I don't think it should be for the cool, I won the game, yay me, or hey, now I get to retire and not do anything. Um, I've actually talked to my own belt line, my squires, and I said, look, and some just friends, if you're going to help Amp and you want to help Amp, a belt will open doors for you that it wouldn't if you didn't have it.
Hmm.
And I think if you want to be a knight, do everything you can, do it, go get it, earn it, and then use that to do good. Don't stop there. That to get to that point was just you opening the door so you can do the greater good.
Hmm.
And that's what I tell people. I love the fact that I have a knight's belt because the people felt I was worthy of it, but I'm not the guy who's going to go, okay, cool, I'm done. I mean, obviously I'm a monarch now. I stepped up and took the position. I didn't have to. I mean, I could have got out of it. Um, but I didn't think that'd be very crown knightly to just walk away.
Sure.
So I stepped up. I did it. I'm going to do it. I have till June, and then I'll move on and do something else, and I'll mentor and teach people and keep working towards those goals. And if it takes a white belt for certain individuals to listen to what I'm saying, then so be it. It's just another tool in the toolbox, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And that's what I say to people.
Yep.
But
It's
I'm all for, hey, yes, you tell people, yeah, I want to earn that belt. Here's why.
right. I in my few nightings that I've actually got to attend, because I'm in my third year currently, I've heard Sir Francis say this is when the real work starts.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
I think that's a really cool way to look at it. Like, hey, you want to be a knight? That's awesome. Understand that all of the stuff you have to do to get there isn't even the work.
Nope, that's just the training for the work.
Right. If you want to do what it takes to be a knight after that, cool, keep doing it. But if
Hmm.
that's going to be a problem, maybe don't push yourself as hard then, because
Yep,
it's going to be a problem for everyone else if you get the belt and then can't live up to what the expectations are.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I see it all the time. I get it. You've been in the game 25 years. You've been a knight 10 years, and you take a break. I get it. If you are all like, you know what, I'm gonna take a 5-year break. Cool, do it. But you should still be able to be open to people talking to you and mentoring people.
Hmm.
It doesn't take anything to have a conversation. But there are some nights that if you ask them questions, they literally get mad at you.
Yeah.
And I guess I also get a lot of that from Dusty. He got his night belt 10 years ago and he still crafts events.
Hmm.
So, and I'm gonna keep doing what I can as long as I can, and as much as I can till I can't.
Right.
That's it.
That makes sense. All right. So that's what you would tell someone who wants to be a knight. Now,
Right.
I'm going to put you on the COK. Someone's
Okay.
coming before the COK as a candidate to be knighted. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for, and it's going to vary from belt to belt to a degree.
Hmm.
There are things that cross over between the belts, and there are things that don't cross over. For me, I'm one of those people that believe there's a difference between a master and a knight.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, it's a leadership thing. You don't have to necessarily be doing the job, but you should be mentoring and teaching others how to do the job. Um, so I'm looking, for me personally, I'm looking for people who are approachable and people who put themselves out there.
Hmm.
If you're like if you're going for a flame belt and you do lots of feasts and you do all that, but if and somebody comes up to you and says, hey, this food was a little overcooked, and your first instinct is to start yelling and screaming at them, then you're probably not going to get my vote. But if you talk to them and go, okay, well, let me give you a different dish, or there's a million ways to handle that other
Yeah.
than saying, no, my food's perfect, screw off,
Hmm.
right? And it's the same thing with people who do the serpent stuff and have that stuff. I've seen a lot of good people really willing to help others learn how to do it, and then I've seen other people say, no, this is my secret techniques, I'm not going to show you how to do it.
Right.
Go Google it.
Hmm.
I've literally been told by crafters to Google something, and I'm like, but you have the information, it'd take you 10 seconds to tell me, right?
Yep.
And it goes the same thing. Like sword knights are the same way. If you're one of those guys who has earned your warlord or your sword knight, and you don't want to show anybody how to make themselves better, then I don't really like that. And
Hmm.
it goes into all the belts. You should be making people better. that's
So,
that's it.
are we at the point in this conversation where we would say that if you're not living up to those standards, you should consider dropping your own belt?
To a degree, I think there's a lot of different levels. Like I said, people get tired and people get burned out and they want to take breaks. I don't
Hmm.
think that they need to be leading the way and be leading the charge, but they definitely should be open and available to the conversations from the people about whatever topic that they are supposed to be nightly about. I do think that there are a fair number of knights who just ride on their laurels and don't care about anybody but themselves.
Right. Yeah.
um, but I mean, I don't think I'm alone in that.
No, I think if an amp guarder was to review that sentence and say, I can think of someone who at one point in their career had done something significant enough to be knighted,
Right.
but has not been able to replicate or produce something to that standard, they'd be like, yeah, I can think of at least one.
Right. And
You know,
but I mean, there's a lot of knights who I think are unknightly who should drop their belt, but for their personal fortitude reasons, they won't.
right.
Um, and again, even if you are just at the point where you're just open and available for the conversations to have with people, in most cases that's enough.
Hmm.
But you have the ones who aren't, and I tell this story, and I actually went back and wrote another post, and um, there were a lot of comments. I want to say it was before I ran for Monarch the first time, and I think either I had just become Dusty's MMA or I hadn't yet. Maybe I hadn't yet, and we had been talking about it. And um, I Ben, I can't remember his. I have a really bad time remembering names. When I can see his physical name on Facebook, I have a hard time remembering what his game name is.
Hmm.
Um, so I made this post on the Knights AMA, and
Hmm.
my post was, it's still there. You can go look at it. But I said, I'm a brand new player. I've never played Amp in my life. I don't know anything about it. Why would I, as a new player, ever aspire to be a knight?
Hmm.
And I got a lot of good responses. And then I literally got physically threatened by two knights. One of the knights literally said, if I ever see you at my kingdom or an event, I will beat the crap out of you. Um, yeah. And and my response to that was, well, thank you for proving my point.
Mm-hmm.
which he literally had said that I didn't know what I was talking about. Because I said, why should I be a knight knowing when there's all this toxicity and hostility towards people who aspire to be a knights from knights?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the post is still there. It never got taken down. They deleted all the threats and stuff like that, but there are still people there who responded to those threats, and you can see how they're like, that is uncalled for. I mean, they go in there.
Right.
So that was literally my first exposure to IK Knights.
Mm.
And two of them had literally threatened to beat me up if they saw me at their park or their kingdom or an event. And that reinforced my value of, hey, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's your first instinct to me asking you why you deserve your belt, that's a problem. So when I don't remember if it was when I got knighted or right, I think it was when I found out I was going to be knighted. When I got the vote, I went back there and I made a post about reflection and how I felt about that situation and how I felt about being a knight and knights in general. And I had some view changes, but my consensus was still the same,
Mm-hmm.
that certain individuals don't deserve knight belts anymore, and I think it's cowardly that we don't take them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that when you try to take them and you have all these knights who literally fight you to the death and become super toxic to the point where some even try to get you banned if you even bring up the fact that certain knights should lose their belt because of the way they act.
Mm-hmm.
um, the environment becomes super toxic. And it I mean, and what was crazy to me is this knight who threatened me that if I came to his kingdom, he literally told me that he would beat my ass. He didn't even get a suspension for that. The
Right.
monarch said, oh, that's just him, he's just an asshole. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally a new player. If I were someone else, I'd quit right now, because if I drive down to this kingdom, he's gonna beat my ass. He
Right.
doesn't even know me.
Mm-hmm.
And all because I asked him why he got his belt or why he thinks he earned it. And what was funny is because he didn't even get a talking to. He thought it was funny. And he actually got banned like a year later or 2 years later. And so, I mean, that to me was poetic justice. But um, the other guy is still not banned, and he's still in a kingdom. And I don't even think he knows who I am, and doesn't even know that we've talked and we've had conversations. But I'll
Right.
never forget who it is. And yeah, so there were a lot of good nights, and I thanked him and I said, hey, you guys were cool then, you're cool now, keep the good fight up, and let's just keep moving forward with it. And that's how I feel about all that.
Well, I mean, it's is where it is too, though. Like that's what we want. We want people to start having the conversations about pulling belts, but then it's treated as a toxic environment or
Hmm.
hateful for to have that consideration. But it would take, I think it would take you, me, the people of that same feeling sitting in the COM
Right.
meeting and go, I'm not moving from this stance until we vote on this issue.
Right, and that's it's on the main page somewhere. When I actually, the Noble Legacy started because I went on there and made a call to action, and my call to action was simple. It was hold your people accountable, and this
Mhm,
wasn't an officer talking. This was me and a fighting company. Hold your fighting company bros. Hold your beltline bros. Hold your friends, because they will listen to you over a monarch of any kingdom or any park first.
mhm,
If I tell one of my company people that they're acting an ass, they're more welcome and open to listen to me before they listen to some outside source. Same with a beltline, same with a group of friends or a clique. And that was my call to action. And I got a lot of reception on that. And, I still believe that. I call my own people out, and I hold my own people accountable, even more
mhm,
so than normal people. And you can ask a couple of my company bros when I was monarch of my park, Helio and Duff. They got into a verbal altercation on the battlefield during a park day, and started screaming at each other. And I literally walked out there and I told them, both of them, to get off the battlefield right now and shut up, or I will ban them both. And they did. And I wasn't playing. I would have. And we need to hold our own people accountable.
absolutely. No, I totally agree. I totally agree, 100%. Um, try to bring this. Man, you keep making it very, very, very intense, and
I mean, that's sorry.
it's
I mean, I'm
no,
just
it's
answering the
fine.
questions.
You're absolutely right, but KOK is not prepared for serious this in depth, but we'll try to evolve here.
No
Um,
worries.
the question has been asked for you to rank the knighthoods by your favorite, by the toughest, however you want to. Just tell us how you're going to rank them, and then do that.
Well, for me, to be honest, sword knight and crafting are like the hardest because I'm really bad at both of those.
Okay.
I can like what is that movie Multiplicity?
Hmm.
When you make the copy of the copy, that's what my stuff looks like, right? It's okay until you look closer at it. If you get within 10 feet of it, it's not great. But if you're looking at it like across a battlefield, it looks amazing. And then you get real close and you're like, um, can I give you advice? I already know what's wrong with it. I just do not have the skill or the ability to fix it. And then same thing with fighting. I came in late. I'm a little heavier guy. I'm broken, so fighting for me is a little bit difficult. I can still do it, and I surprise people when I do it, and because I'm a lot faster than and dexterous than people think I am.
Hmm.
So I use it to my advantage a lot. I don't run normally, so when I do, it really messes with people. But as far as straight up sword fighting in a tournament, oh, I'm terrible. I'm really bad.
I agree. I did all the same things. I came in late. I'm broken,
Yeah,
but everyone just keeps telling me to shut up. I don't know.
yeah, I know, and
Uh,
and they're all like, "All right, you're fighting, you're in this wrong." And I'm like, "I can't, my elbow hurts." Right, so
oh, okay. Along the idea of knighthood, it's a conversation that happened at the COM meeting this last year. At least it started beginning the at COM meeting. It didn't begin there, but conversations were had. Wow, that was a long way to
hmm
get here. Should paladin anti-paladin be opened?
um, I I was watching one of your shows,
Hmm.
and someone had said something about player retention and making it cool because people like D&D and D and all that kind of thing, and I kind of like that. If we could show some like legitimate people saying that, I'd be for that. I really like the idea of how they were talking about splitting it off and having the two for the knights and then having to open up, calling them whatever. I thought that was a good compromise.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I didn't get the knighthood for the fancy accoutrements. Is it cool? Absolutely. Um, but even after I get 6th level in paladin anti paladin, I'll probably play assassin 99% of the time.
Sure.
So
I I I've had a pretty strong stance about this for most of the time because I want the terms to be saved for knighthood. The classes
yeah,
can be open, that's fine.
right,
But it seems like we lose people along the way with, well, it won't be called paladin. Well, I want to play paladin. Well,
right.
so what I want to see data.
Yeah, and that's what I'm too, because the whole thing is like people associate paladin with knighthood, and the honest fact is paladins aren't. Okay, what was it? Charlemagne came with the first paladins, and paladins were not knights. They were fighters and soldiers, knights errant maybe, but they weren't legitimate knights in the sense that we have as knights. And an
Hmm.
anti-paladin by definition is not a knight because they're the anti of that. So even if a paladin is a knight, an anti-paladin by definition is not a knight, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I get that, but if that's where our hangup is, and we're basing that off a D&D definition of paladin,
Yep.
and if our game is going to be stuck around D&D, then we need to make a lot more changes to hold on to that. And everything else is historic, but one part of it. And I mean, cool. You want to have a class for knights? Great. Make something for knights. Great. Do something better than what we have. But
Hmm.
open up. Anybody can be a paladin. And even in D&D, you can multi-class. It doesn't necessarily require you to be a saint or a knighthood. But yeah, I mean, if there are people who want to play the game because we have paladin, do it. Do whatever you need to do to get to recruit people.
I I think that if we got a survey done with knights and be like, hey, how do you feel about it? And they were like, I don't care if they're open. Let them play whatever they want. That's fine. And that was the, I don't know, 66% of all of the knights' voices. Sure. But if we're having this conversation and I'm not a knight and you just became a knight and we're
Yeah.
having the conversation as people who want it because that's something we're still aspiring to,
hmm
and it's 20% of the population of knights saying yes and 80% going no, knights are this is for knighthood, maybe we're just having the conversation at the wrong point. You
Yeah,
know?
and I can agree with that too. And honestly, I kind of like a lot of what the V9 was saying about having like, prestige classes or
Hmm.
classes with a bunch of options. And maybe we move to that where, once you get level 6 in fighter and you accomplished all this stuff, then you can have a paladin class or a subclass or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then make the knights happy, give them some special superpowers for being a knight.
Right. I mean, that makes the most sense to me. Open the two
Right.
classes, then just give a perk to each class. If
Right.
you're a knight, you can have this. If
Right.
you're, a paragon, you get this.
Yep,
And it,
I dig that.
yeah,
Give them goals.
yeah, absolutely. So, last question before we get to the most serious questions in KOK, which is our funny questions.
Uh-huh.
And it's what is a gray knight?
In what term?
It's
Because like, I mean, if you're talking like Star Wars, or if you're
mhm.
talking like superheroes, or if you're talking like medieval, or I mean, is it dark outside but their moon's still up and it's kind of foggy? I mean, you got to give me specifics here.
Well, uh, I'm stealing the term from Star Wars
Okay.
because Dragonspine has a strong history
Mm-hmm.
of awarding someone who declares himself to be a paladin,
Uh-huh.
giving them kale and salt water at their ceremony, and
All
someone
right.
who declares themselves as an anti-paladin getting ice cream. And
I would
I,
do it just for the ice cream.
well, right, exactly. So of course the anti-paladins are winning this war.
Right.
Uh, the balance needs to be here, and
Okay.
I would like to introduce the idea of the Grey Knight and offer burritos.
I'm all for burritos. Just depends on what kind they
Yes.
are. Um,
What do you want?
well, I'm just saying, like everyone says that Texas is like the greatest Mexican food ever, but putting potatoes in a burrito, just unless it's a breakfast burrito, isn't like normal.
Yeah,
And I have eaten taco truck from the streets of Mexico, and I can tell you there are no damn potatoes in a burrito.
that's it's true. Uh, I mean, as a New Mexican, well, I'm technically a New Mexican. I moved here. I'm from the north. I don't
Yeah.
really care about Mexican food, but
Yeah.
if the burrito's a selling point, fine. If it's got to be chicken wings, I know how to make them.
Yeah,
So,
I'm all over chicken wings, but I
okay.
grew up in California, and I literally probably every week ate at a farm truck that was owned by a migrant farm worker.
Hmm,
I mean, I grew up on Mexican food, so I come here and I can't find any. It took me like 3 years to find a Mexican truck or a taco truck that I could stand.
right.
I mean, and I haven't eaten a burrito that I haven't made really hardly at all, because it's like they come with potatoes and weird crap in them, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what? I don't even understand. Everyone's all, oh, this is the greatest Mexican food in the whole wide world. No, it isn't. I mean, great, you stuck brisket in it. That's not, no. I mean, sorry.
Eh, I mean, though brisket burritos,
I'm not disagreeing with you,
yeah, right.
but putting a brisket in a burrito doesn't make it the best burrito in the world,
That's fair. That's fair.
especially if it
But
has potatoes.
so burritos are chicken wings, and you're all for Grey Knights.
I'm for Grey Knights anyways. I always like the concept. I mean,
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's get to the tough questions, shall we,
okay.
Cal? All
These
right.
ones are usually quite silly.
Yeah. Well, silly, sir. This is the
Mm-hmm.
kingdom of Kodiak. This is the most serious questions that you're going to get.
All right. Is it?
Dust.
Because I don't think that's accurate.
Well, okay. Sir Smiley would like to know if Ampguard were a video game, what would be some of the cheat codes?
Get out of jail free cards. Buddies calling in a favor.
Mm-hmm.
Bought the police.
God dang. Okay.
I know. I'm rough.
The sound a dog makes. Rough.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been one of those people to worry about saying what I think is right. So,
Not a problem.
and I don't care. And I guess that's one of my strengths is I don't care what fighting company you are. I don't care what belt line you are, and chances are I don't even know who you are. So I will treat you equally, regardless of your status. If you're knight, awesome. I will call you sir while I'm saying you're not doing things right.
Fantastic. So, Sir Smiley's been asking these questions the last couple of
Oh man.
weeks. Uh, these are the presidential questions.
Oh, great. I'm not gonna know any of these, but go for it.
Who was the first president who was rumored to have had consumed copious amounts of raw fruit and iced milk while attending holiday celebrations, which led to his death, to be elected without having served a prior political office?
Yeah, so I'm totally gonna go with Steve because he's my favorite, and I don't know the names of anyone else
Okay,
really.
well, that was Zachary Taylor. Was is the
Cool.
answer to that one? Yep.
I
Okay.
knew that he existed.
Yep.
That's the end of my history experience with that particular person.
Next presidential political question.
All right,
Um,
I look forward to answering this one wrong.
who was the first president to live in the White House?
You know what? I knew that once upon a time. I want to say Jackson, but that doesn't sound right.
John
But I don't know.
Adams.
There you go.
John
I knew it
Adams.
was somebody I knew. I've heard that name before.
There you go. You knew both the presidents, which is a high
I,
score.
I, I have heard their names, yes,
Yes, fantastic.
but I did
Stillhat would
not do
like
well
to
in
know.
American history.
It happens to the best of
Yeah.
us. Stillhat would like to know if Annie is short for Anakin, and Ben is short for Obi-Wan, and R2 is short for R2D2, and Chewie is short for Chewbacca. 5 is short for CT-275555. What is Luke short for?
Stormtrooper.
Yes, yes, he is. Yes, he is. Uh, Cal,
Oh, who writes these questions?
well, that was Stillhat, and
Okay.
best fan #2 Bear.
All right. Well,
Who
that
would
person's amazing.
she is.
See? Yes. Okay.
Who would play you in a live action version of your life?
Oh, I don't even know how to answer that. Which part of my life?
Let's say Amtgard. Who plays
Oh,
Cal
Amgard.
Thrax in the Amtgard movie?
I would like somebody tall and muscular and a lot skinnier and more athletic than I am, so they could actually fight, and I could totally lie about being an amazing fighter.
Jason Momoa.
He's really big, but yeah, let's do it. Yeah, sure,
Why
Jason
not?
Momoa.
I mean, one
Yeah,
Cal
I'll
to
go with it.
another. Yeah.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah,
See what I did there?
yeah, good.
I'm here.
Good.
I'm here all week, folks.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I'm Jason Momoa. I'll do that.
What is the exact function of a rubber duck?
I honestly, I think it just brings people happiness. There's so many of them now, and people just get so excited collecting them and having them and showing them off. So
Okay.
it makes people happy.
What is in your trunk right now?
I don't actually have a trunk. I drive a Suburban,
Mm-hmm.
and right now, just off the top of my head, there is a hard hat, a drill charger, knee pads, rocks, a rake, 2 shovels, an extension cord, an archery target, a heater, air cleaner, air purifier, probably some bags of trash, bunch of random Amcard stuff, random tool bits, random screws and other accessories, probably some clothes, gloves, duct tape, electrical tape, allergy pills, Gas X, probably a random bottle of alcohol, and I think that's all I can remember right now.
Okay. That's the most in-depth answer to that question we've had so far.
Well, it's been there for most of that stuff's been there for a couple of years. So every time I open it, I go, I got to clean this out, and then I never do.
Yeah, that's fair. What would you say is the weirdest food combination that you enjoy?
That I enjoy?
Yep.
I don't. I mean, I would actually probably have to ask my wife that because I don't think I eat weird foods. So
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I like to take wing flavors and mix them though. I don't like if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you get hot wings and you get garlic wings. I don't like them to have the sauces in 2 separate wings. I like them to mix all the sauces on one wings and I eat them all as one multiple flavored. So without knowing, I mean, without really thinking about my eating habits or asking my wife, she would probably know more than I would. But that's probably the weirdest thing I eat.
Okay.
I mean, I can't eat a lot of weird things because I'm allergic to chlorophyll. So I can't eat vegetables and I don't like fish. So
Still wanted to point out that it's probably potatoes on burritos.
I hate potatoes. So I mean, that's not weird to me because I won't eat it.
That's
I mean, I like McDonald's French fries, but I hate potatoes.
Okay. All right. To preface this conversation, to preface this question, I'm going to point out that Tajima is Stillhet's husband.
Okay.
Okay. Does Tajima deserve ice cream?
Everybody deserves ice cream whenever they
Everyone
want it.
deserves. Everyone deserves it.
Whenever they want it.
Should he get his favorite flavor or his least favorite flavor?
I guess that depends if he helped with the dishes or not.
Okay. All right. Still had expand upon answer here. We're learning things. She also wants to know if Kodiak deserves Santa Fe Grill.
Um, I think you should deserve anything food wise that you think is good. I mean, if you like that place, absolutely you deserve it. If you don't like the place, absolutely not.
Okay. All right. Well, I like it. So.
Sweet, you deserve it, man. You work hard. Treat yourself.
All right. Fantastic. They serve burritos. You know,
Awesome. No potatoes, right?
no potatoes. No
Good. Awesome.
potatoes.
That place is
Uh,
amazing.
uh, Sir Smiley would like to know: is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco?
So I listen to these conversations every week about that,
Yeah.
and this is my legit answer because me and my friends have had these conversations.
Uh-huh.
If you break food into simplistic things and you want to have that, sure, then we only have sandwiches, we only have soup, and we only have whatever.
Hmm.
Then sure. Me, I like food and I like
Hmm.
having a variety of food,
Hmm.
and I hate sandwiches. See, my wife will go, "Let's go to Subway 900 times a week." And I'll go like, "I don't like sandwiches."
But that's a sub, and that's actually kind of a taco.
If you want to narrow your food down, but to me, taco is its own food group, and a
Yeah.
sandwich is pretending to be a taco because people eat the Subway sandwiches sideways, and that's because they really want a taco and they're settling for the stupid sandwich.
It's a strong stance to have, and I
Just saying,
appreciate it. Okay.
tacos are life.
So, uh, I mean, without drawing your ire here, is a calzone a hot pocket?
I mean, kind of. I think hot pockets are more of commercializing calzones. Calzones are like the greatest thing pizza ever invented. The only thing that I really like better than that is like a true Italian pizza, and that's because they take like your slice of pizza and then they batter it and then they deep fry that, so you have a deep fried calzone that's stuffed with a pizza. That's the only thing better. But
I'm here
but
for that.
calzones are God's gift to pizza.
All right. Okay. The man likes a calzone, folks. Let's be okay with that. Sir Smiley would like to know: boneless or bone-in wings?
Bone in have way more flavor, but I'll do boneless at like Buffalo Wild Wings because you get more. There's more
Okay.
chicken. It varies on the individual place because of the flavor.
Okay. Sir Smiley would like to know. He's been asking a lot of questions. He must know you.
I
Um,
I like I said, I met him once at I think gathering. I don't know.
yeah. What's the best cheese in the world?
Uh, see, I don't have a favorite cheese. I just like cheese in general. But we keep a lot of cheddar and mozzarella,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
so I'll go with that.
I don't know. I like a nice spicy pepper jack. To be honest, it's.
I can do spicy to a point. I'm okay with the pepper jack now and then. And sometimes I like the crazy weird cheeses, but
Mhm.
um, I can't do spicy all that often, so I only use it as like a treat.
Okay. All right. Morgan would like to know if you can meet anyone in history, who would it be and why? Is it Freddie Mercury?
I actually saw him in a concert once. It was like it was technically it was a fairground, but it was like a big open thing. I think I was 8. So I'm gonna say I technically already met him. But if I had to meet people in history, I would definitely go. Like I would start in the Roman age, and I'd meet Julius Caesar and Augustus, and then I'd move up and through. I mean, there's a lot of uh, actually there's a lot of Roman people I'd like to meet. But yeah, but Freddie Mercury's cool. Seen him.
Seen him, lived it, did it. All right. If it takes a chicken and a half, a day and a half to lay an egg and a half, how long would it take a grasshopper with a wooden leg to kick a seed out of a dill pickle?
I don't know. I don't like pickles.
Oh, Cal, there you
I
don't like a
told you.
lot of things.
I'm very picky. That's why when you ask me about weird food, I'm like, I eat meat and bread and noodles. I don't know, man.
Okay. All right. All right. Uh, uh, hot take for me, real quick.
Sure.
Bunnies or badgers?
In what circumstance? Like in a
Bunnies or
death match?
badgers?
Badgers,
Badgers. Pigs or squirrels?
pigs.
Okay. How many squirrels to take down a Leopleurodon?
What? Is that a dinosaur?
I just read the questions.
Uh, all of them.
All of them. It takes all the squirrels.
Sure.
That's why we've never seen it happen.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. They just don't work well together.
Fact or fiction? Kamal gives the great hugs.
So I only met him once briefly,
Hmm.
and I didn't get a hug, but I'm
Okay.
told they're amazing.
Okay.
So, fact.
Okay. How do you feel about the loss of the stash?
Um, it's weird. It's really weird. I'm having I don't really get anxiety, but if I had to put a label on it, that's what it'd be.
No, it is kind of strange. He looks completely different.
Yeah, it's really weird. He like downgraded like 20 years. He looks like a teenager, and
Right.
I can't take him seriously.
Well, he wants to know what is the best B-rated movie you've ever seen?
Oh man, see, I don't have a favorite because they're amazing. Like I don't know if you know about Riff Tracks, but they have amazing movies, and I love like Hell Comes to Frog Town and any stupid movie that probably costs $20 in props. I love them. And there's a lot of like high end B movies that were supposed to be top of the line movies that weren't. Uh, Waterworld sometimes gets called a B movie. I love it.
Oh,
I
I
love that
would
movie.
I would not call. I love Waterworld as well. I would not call it a B movie.
I agree with you. Some people have other opinions about it, and I
Yeah,
disagree with them. Yeah, MS3K shows a ton of those type of movies, but
yeah.
Riff Tracks, man, I could watch a Riff Tracks channel all day long. And then like weird movies like You're the Hunter from the Future or
Hmm.
Warrior Queen, or I mean, I love Amazon because there's so many B movies on there.
Uh,
I love it.
have you have you seen Five Deadly Venoms?
I did when I was younger, and I don't remember it, and I haven't seen it since. There's another one like that too, but I used to be really big in the crappy martial arts movies, and then that remake one where they put the guy in an actual
Kung
movie.
Pao.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was hilarious.
yeah.
But yeah, I grew up on all those the Chinese theater
Hmm.
uh, channel when it came up. Yeah, I just watched Boba Hotep like 2 weeks ago. Um, yeah, so I grew up in like the Flying Guillotine series and the Deadly
Yeah,
Masters
yeah.
and the Kung Fu guys and of course the Kung Fu show. But yeah, all those movies, love them.
And then the only other movie I would suggest that would be a B movie that you may or may not have seen is The Pest with John Leguizamo.
I don't think I've seen that. I will check that out.
It's one of my favorite movies, and
Awesome. I will
my
definitely check that out.
my best friend hates me for it. All right,
Oh,
so
wait,
Smiley.
before we change topics,
Uh huh.
I will say this. The greatest B movie of all time is Bad Taste.
Bad Taste. Okay.
It is done by the guy who did Lord of the Rings. It was his first movie. It
Peter
is the
Jackson's first movie.
greatest
Uh,
movie ever of any cinematic movie ever made.
oh, we're gonna have to do a viewing of that.
Oh, it's way not PG-13.
Well, I didn't.
No,
I'm
I'm
not gonna.
saying definitely put a warning label on that one, but it's the greatest film that has ever existed in cinematic history.
I'm nervous that you're committing to that because I mean,
Oh, I told my friends that, and we watched it on Discord, and yeah, the responses were amazing.
I love it. Okay. All right.
Have to watch it.
Okay. Smiley would like to know what your favorite board game and card game is, and if you have ones that you hate.
I hate Monopoly.
Okay.
I can't stand that game.
Okay.
Um, Card games, I don't like traditional card games. I mean, I grew up on Magic. I think Magic came out when I was 19 or something, or
Mhm.
16, or I don't know. I'm old. I enjoy that. There's like the other random card games that have come out over the years. I play not necessarily the collectible ones, but whatever.
Mhm.
And then board games, I like the non-traditional board games that are more prevalent now than they have been. But I'll play anything at least once. Except Monopoly. I hate that
Okay.
game.
All right.
I mean,
Uh,
I'll play it if everybody wants to, but I hate that game.
so Kelly, you're saying you're old.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I turned 46 literally a week ago.
Oh. Okay. All right. I'll give it to you. That's fine. You don't look a day older than me, and
I don't know how old you are.
I'm 37.
Oh, well, I'll take that as a compliment. But
Yeah.
internally I'm about 75, but I'm working on it.
Well, we're all trying to not be old inside. All right.
Yeah.
Five more questions.
All right.
Sir Smiley would like to know what mythical creature could improve the world the most if it existed.
Um, unicorns.
Because of the curing capabilities of the horn, or
Even non-magical, people are so excited about them. I think it would help a lot of people come
okay.
together.
All right. Fantastic.
Like a legit one, not like Ringling Brothers did with the goat.
Right. Okay. Uh, how did Claudius survive the assassination of his family and become emperor of Rome?
Oh, he was the one after Caligula, I think, and basically the guards hid him and saved him, and then murdered a bunch of people who they thought were going to murder him, and then basically just said, "Here, you're in charge now."
Okay. I didn't actually write the answer down for that one like I did the presidential ones. Um, I didn't know, which is
Yeah.
yeah.
So like he took over from and Caligula, because Caligula ended up pissing off his. See, a lot of Roman emperors died because they pissed off their guard.
Yep.
And so their guard just said, "All right, you're done," and murdered them and put someone else in place. And Caligula was one of those. He was fine right up till the end. Like they didn't even care. And then he started treating them like crap. And I'm like, you should never treat your personal guard like crap ever. And
Are
and
we?
I think like 10 Roman emperors got murdered by their personal guard.
How, I mean, you've seen the Caligula movie, right?
Oh yeah, and that didn't even go near what he actually did. I mean, he did so much worse. But they didn't care because he was taking care of them. And then as soon as he stopped, they're like, yeah, we can't. We're not gonna let this
That's
slide.
fair. You're also a creep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Stop
was
sleeping with.
secondary to them.
Yeah. That's fair. Two questions left.
Hmm.
Sir Smiley would like to know how many modern day turn of century Olympic medals have been awarded for artwork?
I don't think any Olympic medals have been awarded for artwork, but I couldn't answer that. I no idea. I think it's zero because I don't think there's a category for artwork in the Olympics.
Well, from 1912 to 1952,
Hmm.
uh, Olympic medals were given out for artwork.
Wow,
A total of 151 medals were given out for the fine arts.
cool. Didn't know that.
Google is the
I'm learning
best.
a lot in this episode that I won't remember in an hour.
That's fine. It'll be saved forever on
Yeah. So
YouTube.
next
Gaming
time
with
someone
Coach.
asks me, I'll be like, you know what? Instead of Googling that, let me go find this video.
Yeah,
Fast forward, right here.
yeah. At the hour plus mark.
There we go.
Last question, Cal.
All right.
Favorite Amp Guard conspiracy?
Uh, I don't know. I mean, the one that gets proud of the most is that I'm I'm a puppet for other fighting companies and crap like that.
Oh,
So I'm gonna say that in every kingdom, everyone thinks that one fighting company controls everything, and every single kingdom has that problem, and it's hilarious to me.
so what you're saying is the overarching conspiracy of the shadow government
Hmm.
is is kingdom based.
Yeah, I think, and I've heard it in every single kingdom I've ever tried to look at. Every single one of them thinks that X fighting company is doing something against X Z fighting company, and they're controlling. And if you go back and look at like the histories too, it changes like every 10 years. It's a different fighting company, and it's the same theory.
All right. Well, Kelthrax, if you could just bear with me through some
Sure.
announcements, we'll get you off here. Uh, uh, Burning Lands and Dragonspine players, please go check out the RP page. We're still doing that. It's still really good. There's a lot of personas being built there. Dragonspine specific, well, or anyone that wants to attend our park day, we're going to have a couple classes this week. One from Witch at Arms Spooky, and another one from Lady Stillhet. So please attend that. Additionally, we are in the month of the crown for Dragonspine. So if you're interested in declaring for office, there is coming up to the end of that. In a few weeks, we'll be having award recommendations go out so that we can make sure that everyone who has done the work is awarded properly before I am done being your monarch and become your champion. Thrax, thank you
Yep.
so much for coming on
Yeah, I
tonight.
had a good time. This was fun.
Yeah, you are an
I
amazing
didn't mean to
person.
take it very seriously, but
Oh,
you
I don't
kept
know if you,
asking serious questions.
4 weeks ago, I had one of my to-do lists on my show, and it was
Hmm.
Goldcrest. And he straight faced me the whole time. But he did that because he knows. So not a problem. I enjoy you. I enjoy talking to you. I can't wait to meet you in person,
Yeah, same
and
thing,
we
brother.
can have a burrito without potatoes. It'll be
There you go.
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to that. I'm definitely, you guys are on my list.
That's great. This has been episode 52, folks. This has been 1 year. I'm not done. I'm going until there's no one that wants to watch this anymore. So if you were worried about it going away after I step out of office, it's not going away. I'll be posting these every week.
Awesome.
And until next week, I've been Kodiak. This is Kingdom of Kodiak.
Have a good
Goodbye.
night.